Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I know it's been such a long time since I posted, and I have my reasons, and that's because I hadn't figured out exactly what I wanted to use this channel for, and I think finally made up my mind, and it's definitely going to be art content. So expect art tutorials, guides, everything art and animation related. So today I spontaneously decided, why not make quite a serious art video instead of the little YouTube shorts I've been making. And today we have a show with his gold. We'll be painting it, doing the line work, the shadows, a complete guide from start to finish. Who knows, we might even animate it. But let's see where the wind takes us. So first we lower the opacity of our sketch layer to, let's say, about 20%, just enough for us to see our sketch and also not get distracted by it. I usually use my hard round pressure sensitive brush, so I just go right in and start with the head. So trolls, what exactly are they? They are described in Scandinavian mythology as huge, ugly, man-eating cave dwellers. And usually the only way to beat them was to outsmart them, because you know one thing about trolls, they weren't really that smart. One of the first literatures to feature a troll was the Norwegian fairy tale called the Three Billy Goat Gruff. You know, the one whereby the three goats were trying to cross the bridge, but a troll was blocking them and they outsmarted him. There are different kinds of trolls. We have the mountain trolls, which are probably the biggest, the cave trolls, which I think might be the smallest, and then the internet trolls, which are definitely the ugliest. But don't worry, just as the rest of the trolls, they are just as stupid. The thing we have to figure out is the shadows. So the shadows is what's going to give our picture a little bit of depth, and also we also need to figure out the colors, which will also give it that pop, bring it back to life. So should we do the color or should we do the shadows first? Because you could do any one first and you can still end up with the same result, but I think I'm going to go for the color first. So first thing I do right before doing the color is to make sure there aren't any gaps in my line work. The reason I do that is to, of course, speed up the whole coloring process. What we're going to do is that we're going to select first items in the foreground and items in the background. So using our magic wand tool, we just select the background, select the background, and leave everything in the foreground. After doing that, what you do is select inverse, then under selection, modify, contract, probably by 3. That is to shift the selection line right inside your line work to prevent situations whereby your colors might be leaking out from the edges. So we're just going to select a random color. Let's go with green. Create the layer right under our line work, and boom, our foreground is colored. And then we pick another color, let's say brown, and we put that on another layer, and boom. There are little inconsistencies, as you can see, maybe right here with the squirrel's nuts, the leaf and the tower, but we can easily fix that. I think we should just fix that now. All we have to do is just clean out the green from the backgrounds and also paint in the greens in the foreground. So that's good. So at this point now we can start really splitting out the colors and really trying to bring this troll to life. So I think the first thing we should paint is the actual troll himself. So let's give him a shade of green. I think the image is already green, so let's convert the foreground color to the color of the troll we want. So just hue and saturation, let's desaturate the green a little bit. Okay, this sounds like a good color for a troll, don't you think? Maybe move the hue a little bit. Okay, That seems trollish. That seems good enough. So let's start painting like the bags of coins. We just select like brown, a nice desaturated brown. And using our selection tool and going to our line work layer, select. So we're just trying to select the bag. As I said, closing all the gaps makes the work a lot easier. So that is the bag. Select, modify, expand by 3 pixels to the foreground color layer. We just paint that in. That looks nice, but I think I want the bag to be a little bit darker. There we go. That looks good. So let's paint like the trolls armor. We can just select gray. So we don't have to do the selection in every situation, only like in situations that it would be easier to do the selection instead of just painting right in. So like in this little detail like the trolls arm armor or shoulder pad, you can just quickly pick up your brush tool and just, you know, paint right in without stress. Okay, oh, he has a shoulder armor right here. Nice. I think next thing we should paint is his golden crown. All we just need to do is select gold. This should be looking like gold. Let's zoom in a little bit more. So using that theory, all we have to do is just, you know, speed past this and paint every single item their own color. So after the flat colors have been placed, there's something I also like doing. I call gradients. This is where I introduce a lighter shade or a darker shade or a completely different color in each flat color in order to give it a kind of a dynamic feel. An example of this is, let's say we select the background that has the clouds. I select this light blue and then I select a slightly lighter version, almost whites. Select your brush tool, soft round brush, increase the brush size, and then just swipe right across. As you can see, it gives this kind of gradient feel. And I'll be doing this on almost every flat color in this image. So let's say an example is if I select the background layer, the mountains in the background, slightly darker version of green, and then I lay the gradient right here. As you can see, it gives an extra sense of depth. And let's say at the peak of the mountain, we can completely change the color scheme at the peak of the mountain. Maybe we want a color between this brown and this green. So all we have to do is select right here. This should be between brown and green, and just swipe right here at the peak of that mountain. Ctrl D. All of a sudden the mountain has a deeper sense of depth. As usual, I'll be fast forwarding this. Now that we're done with our flat colors, our gradients, I think now we can push forward to shadows. So I like counting two kinds of shadows. First, I make the immediate shadows. So these are the shadows that are like under your sleeve, under your arm, in between the fingers, those little tight corners that really bring out those tiny sense of depth. Then after that we have the main shadow. So the main shadow is probably like a roof covering your head, or an obstacle, basically the large shadows, which will be much more overwhelming than the little minor shadows I just spoke about. To do that, first thing I usually do is I create a new layer, put my brush on black, lower my opacity to, let's say, about 40%. And for this immediate shadow, I'll be going like really close. I'll be trying to get like little spots, like you can see, like under the eye, you know, right under the crown, the cheekbones. Those are the kind of shadows I'll be focusing on with this brush. And as usual, we'll be speeding this up. After placing the closer shadows, I think the next step should be placing the larger shadows. So in this illustration, our chubby troll is right under the tree. The foreground is going to be darker than the background, but there will be some light leaks from the tree through the leaves. So in order to achieve that, since we've separated our foreground and background, all we have to do is select our foreground and then create a new layer, paint it black, and lower the opacity to right about there. I think that should be good enough. So now we need something to create this illusion of light streaks from the trees. What we can do is that we can create a layer mask, and then we go to our brush and look for something with a little bit of texture. Okay, this looks perfect. We want to control where our light touches, and we want it to just be on just the bags on the troll. We swap our layer, select our troll, select his crown, select the bag right beside him. I think that should be enough. So we move on to our layer mask, select our special brush, okay, and that should be good enough. And now selecting our gradient brush, we need to clean off some of these shadows away from the little pond that we have going on here. What we do next is that we soften our little shadows that we earlier put on the image. So by making our major shadow invisible, we select our smudge tool, which I will later share the settings, and we just go right on the edges of the little shadow. Not all the edges. Think of it this way, that we soften 50% of the edges in the smaller shadows. This is usually something I do on most of my illustrations. It's kind of my signature move at this point, now that I think about it. When I'm done finally making my mind up with the sketch and the clouds and making several adjustments and adjustments and adjustments and adjustments and adjustments, I can finally accept and make up my mind that the illustration is done. And then for the final step, for the piece resistance, which is grabbing up my logo and placing it right on the image. Let's take it right on top so that everybody can see it. Yes. And we can see that we have a complete illustration. So thank you guys for sticking with me throughout this. This was a very weird experience. I'm not the most experienced YouTuber out there, as you can see by my catalog of videos, but I'm happy for anyone that stuck through, and I'll try to be bringing more consistent art content up on this page. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.